Oops, hi, Brad. I was worried for a minute my camera wasn't going to come on like last week. That was so weird.
I was doing a big Zoom presentation a month ago, and I had everything set up. I had a camera and I had, this and that all plugged in, and I tested it all. And it's about an hour and a half, and an hour in, my computer died.
Oh no.
And it's
Oops.
my power strip. Not all of the outlets worked. I had to test it later.
Oh.
The one I first tried, it was fine, but the one I plugged my computer into didn't work.
Well, I did a dry run with Grace, the town clerk, to figure out what was going on, and I got a really weird message with their link that I've never gotten before with any of ours, and It took me a while to get the camera to work. Yeah, but I did. It was really strange. So anyway.
I'm glad it's working now.
Now I know that going before any other board, maybe I need to get on early to make sure that doesn't happen again. But yeah, it was weird. Hi, everyone. Everybody looks tired. Poor Marianne, especially.
I just started writing one of the answers to the question. I sent out the questions that need to be answered. Yeah. And I just started writing one of the answers tonight. So anyway.
I thought I printed them out. They're still in my printer. I printed out in case you wanted help with anything, and I thought some of these seem a little redundant, but that's a grant. That's a grant for you.
That's a grant, yes.
That's my experience.
So I was looking at it and I thought that something somebody else could write might be describe how and why the chosen site was selected and any alternate sites that were considered.
I'd be happy to do that since I.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think you could do that.
Yeah, I think I could do that.
Yeah. So there's Kate.
I don't know if I have those pages. I think when people asked from after the last meeting, I sent them to everybody. If I don't have them, I really asked Grace if it's possible to have another binder if they could find
I have one for you. I found another one here.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to be sure I get it right, But...
Yes. Okay.
Hi, Kate. Okay.
I don't see any guests.
Yeah. Oh, we're still waiting for Savannah. I don't either.
Right. Oh, that's right. We're still waiting for Savannah. Okay.
Kate, it's my turn.
Is it? Okay. You know what? That's great. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm
How's your cold?
Camera.
You still have a cold? You sound
I'm not feeling great, so I'll just be off camera, but thanks a lot, Michelle.
Yeah, you sound it. Well, let's see, what time is it? Oh, it's time. Well, Savannah might come on later, so does anybody want a reminder? Although I sent out an email with the agenda. Okay, so do you want to do your recording Zoom thing, Marianne, and we'll do the minutes?
Here we are once again meeting on Zoom due to the pandemic. And if people, are unable to participate in the meeting on Zoom, they can get a recording after the meeting, and the recording is available until the minutes are posted. Okay.
Great. Hey, Tim, we have a lovely photo of your shoulder.
Oh,
there it is.
Okay, there you go. All right. Okay, so we have two sets of minutes to review tonight. We have November 4th.
And the 4th.
Anybody have any comments about anything? Like a lot of detail. Good job, Melanie. That's not easy. There's a lot of detail in that meeting, both meetings. And one of them.
Thanks for your edits, Michelle. And
yeah, they were simple typos.
Yeah. Got that. The PFAS.
You know what? It turns out it's either way. They talk about both, but I always hear about the PFAS, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I'm definitely changing that.
Okay. Mostly they were just grammatical and typo, and there were only a
Yeah.
few. Anybody else have anything? No? Somebody want to make a motion to accept the minutes then? With the little
So
slight
moved.
revisions in
Yes.
grammar or spelling? Did I hear somebody make a motion?
I did.
Okay, Kate and Brad seconding, all in favor?
I,
Okay,
with great thanks to the secretary.
I
This
know, it was
is
a
an
hard
amazing
one.
record, and I think the MBLC will be really grateful to you for it.
Yes.
My
Diana's
pleasure.
here.
Did you see my thing about on the 8th, Leslie? I called
Yep,
her
Leslie. And actually, that was a question that I had because I couldn't tell from the video who was present.
Yeah, well, you
So I
know,
did the best I could, but if anyone else knows other people who were present at that meeting, besides Penny, Mike, Molly, Merrill, and Leslie, let me know.
I think Gail Fleischhacker was there, wasn't she,
Okay.
Marianne? I
Yeah,
think she was.
Gail Fleischhacker was there.
Was Rita there?
Most likely. Yeah, I believe
Also,
so.
a reference
Yeah.
to people from the select board being there, but I couldn't tell who it was.
Yeah,
It
Rita
was
was
Rita.
there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Rita and Gail, okay.
Yeah. Usually I write that all down. I didn't happen to, but I remembered that Leslie was because he sent me a message in the chat saying that he was really there, even though I had his wife's name on the screen.
Got it, okay.
Hi, Savannah. We're just reviewing minutes. So we're on the November 8th minutes. Does anybody have any comments or changes? Anything that looks, I found one spelling error. That's about it.
I have a
And I think
question.
just clarifying what the straw poll was about. That was the only thing I thought. If somebody reads these, they'll be like, what was the straw poll about?
That
Oh,
was right at the top of the meeting when.
Yeah, no, I know, but the
Oh,
way it
you know
reads,
what
it's
it's about. Sorry.
unclear about what the
It's not
straw
clear
poll
what
is
it
about.
is.
So could you just
Yeah.
put for the slight selection?
Oh, okay, yep.
Yeah,
So I'll adjust that.
A question?
yeah, go ahead, Brett. I'm
Bottom
sorry, I
of
wasn't paying attention.
Bottom of page 1, unidentified guest, extraneous comment. It was an extraneous comment. Do we have to include that?
No. No, but I really enjoyed including it, so, but I can take it out. I'm happy to remove that, but it was an exciting moment for me as the secretary.
Yeah, it's really not relevant to the discussion, I don't think. in a
It's not,
way.
I think we take it out.
but
Okay.
it spiced up the meeting. Not that it wasn't an exciting meeting, because it was.
Oh dear. Any other comments on anything? They looked really clear and detailed there, Melanie. That must be hard. Like, can you stop the video? Like,
Oh,
so-
yeah, I can
that's
stop the
good.
video, and it's, I mean, yeah, I can stop the video, and it really was, it's really not that hard.
Okay.
And it was good to, I mean, it's good to just learn. I'm finding that being secretary is a great position to be in, to just kind of learn.
Yeah, that's why I was
going on.
saying that when we needed somebody to volunteer to run, because yeah, I found the same thing. When I was brand new, there was so much to learn. I found like it really made me focus more.
Yeah.
So,
Me too.
yeah. And thank you for doing that. Okay, anybody want to make a motion to accept the minutes as revised?
I move.
Okay, Brad, and then somebody want a second?
Second.
Savannah, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Great.
Could I ask a quick question?
Yep.
In terms of the documents discussed at the meeting, are there
Mhm.
any of these documents that need to actually be attached to the minutes when I send them to Grace, or is just the list?
Well, my attempt at trying to compare the things was only a draft and we didn't approve it. You just list it, but we don't need to include it, is what Grace said. Grace said anything that's considered a draft and was not approved, she doesn't need to have.
Okay,
And I brought up the schematic design the common landscape design thing, but we didn't look at it. And it just
Right.
included it as something I read when I was doing my pros and cons thing.
so should I remove those since they were mentioned, but they weren't discussed?
That's a good question. Do you remember what I said when I quoted Grace? Well, I guess we might have to look back at that. I can't quite remember. I know she said if it's a draft, she doesn't want it because it's going to be like all the drafts and all those revisions we've been doing on the building program. They just end up.
I can check in with Grace about it.
Why
Just to
don't
get,
you do that? Yeah, I'm not really sure. Okay, anybody have anything else? Are we gonna go to Mary Ann's thing about how the revision she's proposing for the next draft? That was great that you got a ton of feedback
Yeah, yeah.
from.
So, I mean, it was a lot of editing to do, but mostly it was taking, well, some stuff I just took out and then some stuff I just had to slash, stuff that, so stuff that wasn't relevant to the architects, right? Like
Okay.
the architects didn't need to know the whole history of the last vote. They just needed to know that there was an attempt and that it failed, and I mean, they don't even need to know that, but so some of the feedback that we got was to take out sort of some of that stuff that wasn't relevant to them being able to do their jobs designing the building. So it was quite a bit. I spent a day doing the edits.
So is some of that need to be in the grant application? Because just glancing at the questions, some of it looks redundant from what was already in the building program.
Right. And, and I can only sort of look at one question at a time. But one of the questions is, past planning efforts. But I think, again, it doesn't need to have all of the details about, the multiple votes and the court battles and the hard feelings, it's just, it was an attempt, I think. But I can't say until I get to that question.
Yeah. I just wanted something you'll be able to use again.
Right. Yes.
It did look redundant anyway.
So, and I mean, I didn't take everything out. I just took out some of the details. So I tried to give you a list, but we should talk about the program areas, because because those did change a little bit. And so I'm going to go there. And because, because I did make some changes, and I want to hear what you all think of the changes. So, and in any of this that you want to talk about is certainly fine with me. But does anybody want me to share my screen and share the program areas, or do you all have it? And Brad sent it all to you.
Oh, I didn't look at that whole thing. I had a hard time finding. We've had so many emails that I just couldn't. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't
know
look
it's
at
a
that.
lot.
Sorry.
So that's okay. So the adult collections area, so I had it. Well, I think some of it was edits, and some of the back and forth with the edits, that some of the numbers didn't get entered properly. But I worked with Lauren and Andrea to figure out how much linear feet the collection would take, and then how much shelving space that would take. And there's a formula that you use, and I used their formula, and I was with them when we did it, and they did it too. And it came out to 460 gross square feet. And we had a much higher number for that.
Okay.
So then, so that's good, because it meant it saved us, quite a number of gross square feet. And then the next area that then I did the same thing, applied those same formulas to the collection needs for the collections in the children's room, and I found that we needed more square feet. So the children's room went from 750 square feet up to 900 square feet. Because adult books can be on shelves that are 6 shelves high. Children's books, the picture books and the board books need to be on shelves that are only 2 high. So those take more floor space. And then then I was thinking about this. So they really were concerned about the circulation desk and the staff workroom. And I thought about all of the different things that are in there. And I decided to add 40 feet to the circulation desk. So it went from 200 to 240. And you know, that's room for book trucks to move back in and out, and for shelving for the library of things, and shelving for holds, and room for a copy machine. And our current circulation desk area is about 120 square feet. So, you know, double this doesn't really seem like too much to me. And if you're going to have 2 staff people working there, you need to have enough room. So that's an extra 40 feet. And then the next place I changed was, let me see. The interior book return. So I had misunderstood a previous conversation with Lauren and Andrea, and I hadn't assigned it any square footage. And they said that it needed to have square footage assigned to it. So the Irving and the interior book return, if you're going to have a book return that comes into the interior of the building from the exterior, it has to be a fire safe room with a door. And the one that Irving has that has both the book return and the locker area is 48 square feet. So I put ours as 48 square feet. So that was an addition. And then let's see. Okay, we changed the word pavilion. So we changed the word pavilion to covered outdoor program area, because to them, pavilion means some detached structure off in the middle of a playground. And so that language change came from them. So then a big thing in that sort of reception browsing area that in my mind is right in front of the circulation desk, that has new books and, you know, some special displays and a little bit of seating. And I was picturing that with a book capacity of about 384 books. And when I applied the formula for that linear footage, I could reduce the amount of shelving that would be needed, so that I could take out 50 gross square feet in that area and save a little bit. And I added it to the circulation desk, and those 2 areas together are all one big area. Melanie, you have a question?
Yeah, I have 2 clarifying questions for the minutes. One is, what is that area called? Just the front area?
Reception and browsing.
Reception and browsing? Okay. And the other question is reception and browsing. You had mentioned earlier that they were concerned about the circulation desk and the staff workroom.
Yeah.
Did they recommend any changes to the size of the staff workroom?
Well, yeah, we just didn't get there yet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so yes, okay. Let's see. Okay, and then restrooms. So restrooms are unassigned space, so I could take that square footage out, and then that'll fall under that 30% that we add. And okay, the small study room. This is a big change for a small space. So the small study room was 150 square feet, and it had a table and 4 chairs, or 2 small tables and 4 chairs. And they said that a room that size could have 6 chairs. And then I was thinking about that room, and I was thinking about if the trustees wanted to meet in that room. Or if another town board wanted to meet in that room, or if the Friends of the Library Executive Board wanted to meet in that room, 6 chairs isn't enough, but 8 chairs is enough for most boards. And so I decided to give that room an extra 50 feet, and so it still works for, you know, a couple of people studying, or you know, a small tutoring group. But it also works for a small board having a meeting in there. And so it seemed to me like it made sense to make that room a little bit bigger. And so you can all let me know whether or not, you know, if you object to that. Let's see, the staff workroom again. So I was thinking in the plan from 10 years ago, there was a storage closet someplace that we don't have. Our storage closet in the community meeting room is bigger than in the plan from 10 years ago.
I think it was off the children's room.
Yeah, and so, and I was just thinking about all the stuff that that you need, and so I added 40 feet to the staff workroom so that there's enough room for cabinets and shelves and things like that, and for, you know, desks and tables and people to be in there working together. And let's see.
Is there a way to give us an idea of like how big that is? Is there something you can compare to? I don't know what 240 square feet means.
All right, so you know the tents that are beside the library, the 2
Yeah.
tents?
Yeah,
So that's 200 square feet.
just one or the two together?
One is 100 square feet. They're 10
Oh,
by 10
That's
tents.
right, okay.
So
Oh,
2
okay,
of them,
okay. All right.
okay?
Yeah,
So
thank you.
then, you know, so another 40 feet, it's a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So the teen room is the same. And let's see. Except that, you know, I did some adjustments on the amount of shelving that we would need, but the space stayed the same. Oh, and then, okay, this version doesn't have the telecom closet. I'm already working on the next version, which is almost done, and I'll send it to Brad and he'll update the table of contents and we'll send it out, and that'll be next week's. And then really it's time to put this thing to bed, because, you know, the grant application is due in 2 weeks and Library Giving Day is coming up. So but you know, and for next week, I've added a telecom closet, which is 15 square feet. And everywhere where it says the area, so for area required for the teen room, it says 200 gross square feet. I've changed it to just 200 square feet. And we're not qualifying the square feet. But that's, you know, that'll be next week. Those are the only changes that I can think of. And then I sent you all the, you know, the areas where there would be copy changes. So that's it. And I think we can probably take out the photo of behind Town Hall. There are two photos from behind Town Hall. Since we've decided to use lot 032, and we can just keep the photo of lot 032 in there.
Oh, like it's in the appendix, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense to
Okay.
me too.
So are there any other questions about the building program?
No, not from me anyway. Kate has a question.
Well, it's connected to the building program, but it's not right about it. So maybe Melanie goes first.
I just wanted to make sure that it's gonna be, of course it is, I don't even need to ask this, but I am anyway. Gonna be added to the website, the latest draft.
Already there.
So what is it we're reviewing next week then, just so I have it?
So just the final draft, because the
Okay.
telecom closet
That's
will
what
be in there.
That's
And
what I wrote. I just wanted to be
yeah.
sure it's right.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. So,
Okay.
you know, the next final draft, you know, it's,
Yeah.
so, okay. Yeah.
Okay, are you all set, Melanie? So then Kate can ask her question, or? Okay, go ahead, Kate.
So I think this is wonderful. And I think it provides us with a natural opportunity to release what we're wanting to release, which is this apples to apples, or as close as we can get, comparison among the two, between the two programs.
Mhm.
And so I know that, Brad, you have a little more tweaking to do based on the further changes that were made. And I suggest that we do this as a package release, that we explain that the reason that, that we got, I really want to make it clear to people that we got feedback from the MBLC that made it smaller. This is counter to everyone's perceptions of what the MBLC is likely to do. And it, but they are committed to creating efficiencies, and they're already doing that. And to me, that's really exciting, you know. And then I think it's a natural time to say, and here's, we needed to get to this place where some of their feedback was incorporated before we could really think about how to compare the two. And at this point, are we essentially no longer a draft building program, but we're a building program? That's my other question.
So Lauren said that that they haven't even answered the question themselves of whether or not it's a draft building program, or if it's a building program. But I mean, I would think at this point it's pretty close to a building program. I can't really say that it's, like one area is smaller, but other areas are larger. And and I mean, I think it's almost a wash, and if I really did what the MBLC wanted me to do, I think, well, I think the MBLC probably thinks that there should be more room, more staff workroom, a larger circulation desk, and a larger teen room. But I think we've made all of those spaces as big as we can make them. So I wouldn't, I guess I can't agree with the sort of this, with the way, with saying it, that we got feedback from the MBLC that made it smaller.
All right, that's helpful. Thank you, Marianne.
Okay. Does anybody, do you want to, Brad, do you want to explain how you got to where you did? Or did people feel like with the explanation? Go ahead, Brad, if you want to explain how you got to where you did with all of this and your discussion with MBLC and your definitions of things and blah, blah, so.
You're talking about the chart now.
Yeah, I think because we're done with Mary Ann's presentation.
Okay.
Because that's the only other thing we have. We may actually only be here for an hour tonight.
So the various versions that came up beforehand, we're all using very similar data, but with a somewhat different viewpoint. And in my viewpoint, what I was trying to do was the best job I could comparing similar spaces. I wanted people to be able to say, oh, here's the adult collection. What was the adult collection like? And that was harder with the other versions. I elevated the comparison of spaces, and I lowered in what I was doing the comparison of building programs, because the building programs are not apples to apples. And as I worked on it, and doing some recent stuff with Marianne and talking with Lauren, I realized we were also extremely close to having all the listed spaces that we needed to have, and then it would be complete. So my last version, which I put out today, did include everything. It includes the telecom closet that's not yet in this draft, because Marianne said, let's put that in. And that was the last space that needed to go in. And at that time, it was clear in my mind, according to the data I had, that when we compare everything we have this year to all the equivalent spaces in 2009, we're smaller by almost 500 square feet. And then today, when I had the last one in, and because the list was complete, I felt like I could then add comparisons to the building program. And that gets difficult because they're different models. And the way I did it was I just had one section that said, here's today's model. And I had another section that said, here's the 2009 model. And I mean, in both cases, you can see if you compare apples to apples, we're smaller. And at the bottom, I added outdoor program areas, including an estimate for the porch in 2009, because they didn't delineate it then. And then below that, I have just the extra spaces. This is mostly to be complete. To me, I didn't feel like we needed any of those, but if someone's going to compare it to the last building program, well, here they are. So there you have it. I was trying to make it as simple as possible, but with the main goal of having comparable spaces. And because of that, I took anything where there were related spaces where 1 year we had one line and 2 years we had another. I merged them so that they would compare across. And I was very happy by the time it finished. So
I
any
think it looks
questions?
amazingly clear. You know, I think, yeah, I mean, that's my opinion. Because people are going to want to see what the square footage is. That's what they're asking for. So there you go. And I think your explanation of how you got there, at least in my mind, partly because I've worked on this before, the last attempt. But I would be curious to hear what other people have to say. Go ahead, Emily, do you have a question or did you have a comment?
I had a question and a comment. So my question is, what is this document called for the minutes?
Building program comparisons, 2021 and 2019.
Okay.
2021 and
9.
2009. I called it, the title I have on my file is LPB area comparison 2021 and 2009.
Mm-hmm.
That probably is a good enough title for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then my only comment was, I think that I want to just thank everyone for working on this, because I think it's brilliant. I think it's really important. I'm happy with, the outcome, because this idea that we're proposing a larger library is not true. And, these numbers show that. And so thank you for all the work that everybody put into this.
Yeah, it was a lot getting there for sure. Kate, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I can't remember what my question was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, I had a suggestion to make. This is excellent work, I think, and everyone who participated in various pieces of this has made a real contribution to thinking about how to explain this. I wonder whether we might want to schedule, and Marianne, I don't want to make more night work for you, but whether we might want to schedule a public meeting to walk people through it.
That's a great idea, though. I would love to do that.
Mm-hmm. I think
Because,
that's a great idea too.
it worries me that nobody is here. And I just, so I think that's a great idea. So we have tomorrow night, we meet with the finance committee. It would be good, it'd be good to meet next week, and then the Monday after Thanksgiving, just to work on the grant application. But whatever evening you want to schedule that for, I'm all in. Okay. And if
Great.
it's, and it could be, if it's, I guess it doesn't, it doesn't have to be a trustee meeting, because it's not gonna be, so like everybody doesn't have to be there, or a quorum of you doesn't have to be there. But if, you know, but, so anyway, so you figure out when, and I'm available.
All right, well, maybe this, I don't know, Michelle, if this is not really on your agenda for tonight, so we can talk about it next week if we have time.
Well,
or
I
just
think
what-
it would be good to resolve it because we don't have a lot tonight. Surprisingly, we might actually finish early.
Awesome. So would it be, I mean, I feel like the Monday after Thanksgiving is a ways away, but it's not actually. That would be the 29th.
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of, uh, if people think that we could do it during our regular meeting time, or honestly, I don't know how, I don't know how many questions we want to take about this. We've sort of talked this over and over in so many public meetings at this point that I think this is really more of an explanation than a discussion. What do y'all think about that approach?
I kind of agree with you. I feel like, I mean, I think you have an explanation, but there will be some questions, but I think you just have to set it, I'm saying you, whoever, we have to set a time limit
Yeah,
because it's just numbers. And I think if someone actually looks at it and reads what Brad said, the accompanying definition, I mean, I don't know. Did everybody else feel like it was clear? I mean, Tim and Brad and I have the advantage of that we all spent some time working on our own version. So we've all played with the numbers and have seen all the places the information came from. So we have a different perspective, perhaps.
can I ask another question of you, Marianne? Do you feel like, given that the application is due, I'm sorry, Savannah, I'll wrap up quickly. The application is due like the Friday after our Monday meeting, the week of Thanksgiving, that you might want to reserve that for the application and we should find another time. Okay. All right, then, I'd just like to put Wednesday the 1st on the table for no good reason at all. Or actually, for me, Thursday the 2nd would be better. Man, I don't know if you need to be there. Right.
Well, like I'm thinking if it's Thursday the 2nd, well, here's, my goal is going to be to have that application done that Monday. Because then I'm going to have to be going around getting actual signatures. Yes, yeah, this is an actual signature thing, which, so just real, so you and Kate have to sign it, and then other trustees can sign it if they want to, and then select board members need to sign it. So, actually I'm gonna find out when the select board meets. It needs to be done by the select board meeting, closest to December 3rd, so that they can approve it. So I have to find that out. I have to send myself a note right now. So about that, find out when the select
Okay.
boards.
Looks like Savannah has a comment or a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to when we were talking about whether, about the clarity of this and whether it was helpful and so on. For me, I would say that for the first time, I really understood everything that we'd been talking about. It was the first time seeing it sort of, organized like this and clear. So I think, anybody looking at this really should be able to grasp what's being talked about in here. By the way, I just want to add my congratulations to, Brad and, well, everybody who did this. This is great.
Yeah, it took a while to figure out how to present it because it's hard.
Yeah,
And you want people to be able to look at it and understand it. So just as long as people feel like it's simple enough that people can just read it and grasp the idea.
If
I don't know
we
about
I think it made sense to get rid of the schematic thing because it did confuse things. And I think, it does make sense to have the two building programs because that's where we are in the process. I didn't think that when I was working on it, but I'm convinced now that this is better. Go ahead, Brad.
two comments. I was trying to lower my hand. Two comments. I did think the schematic was, again, not apples to apples. By the time we get the schematic, the design is going to change again. And that was one reason why I wanted to go back to the building program. Another one was, since the application is due the week of the 3rd, I felt like we should keep that clear and not have another. We may meet, but I'm not sure that's a good time to have a public meeting about this. And I wondered about the 23rd. I wondered about next Tuesday, if we have a public meeting, whether that's a suitable time to do that.
Well, I think, as Marianne said, I don't think we have to all be there. You would be, obviously, as the person who worked on this. And I don't know who else wants to participate. Go ahead, Kate, you have a comment?
Melanie first.
Okay.
I guess I worry about having any public meetings so close to the application being due because of the possible perception that in terms of optics that we just drop this information right before the application was due. And even though that doesn't matter, it's not something that's it's just comparing information. I just feel like maybe that's going to happen anyway, those kinds of comments. But I wonder if next week might make sense just so it's not so close to the application deadline and we don't get those kinds of
Well,
comments.
the 23rd is next week. Is that what you're saying? We think that's.
Oh, yeah, that we do it in the 23rd instead of really close to the application
Yeah,
deadline.
plus the stress of trying to get a grant out in case you need to change anything or whatever. Okay, Kate.
Well, I was thinking about this too, and never mind. You know what? Y'all have said everything I need to say.
Okay. Marianne?
So I think we have to release the document because we've talked about it a couple of times. And I think while we understand the document, I think, it's just so interesting to me sort of watching some of the online conversation that happens and the questions that people ask. It's a lot of information. It took us 3 weeks of lively conversation about this and well, okay, that's and a lot of work to figure out what how to compare these two things. So I feel like we can post the document and say that the document's been posted, but there are going to be questions. And next week is Thanksgiving. I guess I'm not too worried about what anybody says about the grant application because town meeting actually charged us with applying for this grant, and this document doesn't have anything to do with the grant application. So, and we had a lot of meetings about the building program, and people know that, or they should know that we were going to be talking about, continuing talking about the building program because it's part of the grant application. And we told them that they had until the 15th to give us feedback, and we didn't really get any feedback. So anyway, I'm willing to host a meeting on Tuesday. and allow people to ask questions. And, you know, and I think, you know, anyway, but I don't feel like people are gonna can accuse us of anything. I mean, people are gonna accuse us of things, but I
Right.
don't think anybody can accuse us of any wrongdoing by hosting a Zoom meeting so they can ask questions about this document.
I mean, the one good thing is the person that did ask, I felt like I couldn't explain how hard this was and what the process we've been going through. So I called that person to explain, who's also on a board in town. So they get that things can take time. So anyway.
Yeah.
They know, that person knows
Yeah.
that we were working on it and, you know, diligently.
Yeah.
Tim, you've been kind of quiet. Do you have any comments?
No.
No? Okay.
So should I put in the meeting minutes that this is gonna be, we approve this and it's gonna be posted?
Well, we should probably vote on it because
Oh,
it's gonna
sorry.
be, don't you
Before
think?
we do, could I just say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Kate.
don't think it matters. I think the most important thing is that this information get out there with a public conversation at the same time. I think if we just drop it, we're confusing the process instead of clarifying it. I think it's complex enough. So I think if we're going to announce it, I think we want to announce a date to discuss it at the same time.
Okay, then why don't we pick a date then? Who wants to be there? Or maybe that's the wrong way to ask it. Who would be willing? I know we're all getting meaninged out. Well, Brad, obviously, because he worked on this.
I'd be there. I'd like to be there.
Okay. And if you're there, I think I'll skip it.
Fair
I'm
enough.
willing to be there too.
Okay.
This is for the public meeting you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I don't think we all have to be there either.
Okay, so is next Tuesday the date?
Does the 23rd work? Some people who would propose that, I don't remember now. Was it Kate?
It works for me.
Okay.
Works for me.
And what time? 6 o'clock? 7 o'clock?
I like 7 better.
You like 7
but
better?
we can do any of those. Yep.
Okay.
Whatever works for y'all works for me.
And then, so then tomorrow I would send, oh, you know, well, all right, so I'll post the document on the web page. And then, tomorrow send a town announcement, or even tonight I can send that town announcement that says, you know, we'll be hosting a Zoom meeting, and we won't call it a trustee meeting, because that has to be a quorum.
Mhm.
And so Tuesday at 7 on Zoom, and then, you know, people can, they can register if they want to. And, you know, and then on Tuesday we can post the Zoom link on the website.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Okay,
Okay.
Brad. And then we should probably vote on it just to make sure we all agree. Brad, go ahead.
Well, that basically what I was going to say. I think we should vote on both the latest draft so that the trustees, you know, have approved, and also this chart so they can both be
Mhm.
formal.
I was referencing the chart, but you're right. We should. I didn't get to look at the draft, but I looked at what you sent for your notes, which is what you explained. So I'm fine with. Okay, so let's vote on the first vote on the latest draft with the changes as Mary Ann described. Anybody like to make a motion? Sounds like Brad kind of did.
I move that we approve the latest draft.
Okay, anybody want to second it?
Okay.
Okay, Savannah, second it, and then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is that everybody?
That's my eye. Yeah, I think that was unanimous.
Okay. Did I hear you, Tim?
Yes.
Okay, it's hard to tell because everybody spoke at once. Okay, and then the second thing we'll vote on is this building comparison of areas of the library building programs put together by Brad. Could somebody make a motion to accept that?
Yeah, I move that we accept the draft. I'm sorry,
Okay.
we accept the building comparison as it will be revised by Brad, I think, right? We understand what the revisions are. They're in line with the building program that we just approved, right? Is that right?
I've actually incorporated everything that's in that building
Oh,
program.
then I amend my motion to be, I move that we accept the building comparison as submitted, and that we schedule a public meeting at 7 o'clock on the 23rd of November to answer any questions and explain the document.
Okay. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so done. Okay, so our next meeting is the 22nd. And we'll be reviewing whatever is ready for the actual grant application. And is there anything else we need to talk about?
The next draft of the building program. It's, you know, everything falls under grant application.
Okay, I forgot
yeah.
about that other draft.
Oh, so let's see.
Oh yeah, we want to talk about who's going to the finance committee tomorrow night too, so we know who that is, who's going.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything else for the agenda for next time though, besides those two items? Probably not, those are biggies. Okay. Did you have something else, Marianne? No? Okay, and so who's going to the finance committee tomorrow night?
I'll be there.
Okay, all right.
Brad and Tim. Okay.
And Kate.
Okay, and Kate,
Kate. Okay.
I might, we'll see. What time are we on?
So their meeting starts at 7,
Uh-huh.
and we're on the agenda right after approval of minutes. So
Okay, at 7 o'clock then.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And you know, and we're well, the questions are in that thing that I sent you today, but I'll have it separated out. You know, it's basically, and Becky knows these questions, and she's supposed to talk to the treasurer ahead of time. And so they're, you know, so like they know, so they know that we don't know how much the project is going to cost. And and so it's just to have a general conversation about what the town resources are and what the strategies might be. The good news is that we have almost $1.2 million in free cash alone. So the town's finances are in good shape. So
I just realized I have a dinner engagement. It's an early one, but it might be tight for me to be back by 7. So,
I think that's okay. I think we have
Okay.
plenty of people.
okay, all right.
because Brad, Kate, and Tim, that's
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Okay, Melanie?
Yeah, I might have missed this, but Marianne, is there anything that we can help with the grant application? I know Michelle's going to be working on one of the questions. Is there anything else that I can do?
So
or-
if you can you read the questions, and if there's one you think you could answer, let me know. I mean, the
Yeah.
questions look like stuff that you need to know, a lot of stuff, but but can I just write stuff and then send you really horrible writing, and you'll make it look like somebody who's literate and articulate wrote it?
Yeah, that's fine. If
okay.
you want to use me as an editor, that's fine.
Okay.
Happy to do that.
All right. I'm just, you know, what I have
But
to
you're
do is
a really good writer, so you
right,
shouldn't
yeah.
say that about your writing.
Yes, but you know, if you could just put in some commas and, you know,
Sure.
some, you know, make sure that I don't use the word robust in every other sentence. that would be good. And I just have to start writing it, and I started. It's, I mean, there are parts of it I've done. Some of it is just taking the parts of our long range plan. I already took those out and plunked them in it, and this isn't nearly as much as the building program was, but it is a fair amount of work, on top of a full-time job. But I'm gonna try and get you a bunch of stuff by Friday. Okay. So that we have a bunch of stuff we can approve Monday night. Okay. So I'm gonna post Monday's meeting, and then I'm actually gonna send that town announce about this form and the meeting on Tuesday, tonight. Okay. Looks like Michelle has a question.
I do. What time could I pick up the binder, and do you by any chance have the one that had all the Post-it notes still on, or did somebody just put that?
I think I do. I didn't take your Post-it notes out, so you can pick it up. I'll be here by 10.
10 o'clock. Okay, so
okay.
I'll stop by
All
after yoga then.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. I think wow, amazing, huh? 8:24 and we're done. Should we adjourn? Anything else?
I just want to say, Melanie, that was such an elegant reframe of what Marianne said about what she was going to send you. Well done.
I just have one more thing about the robust. I was reading something, I don't even know if it was in the paper, but they used the word robust and I had to chuckle. I just thought of you, Marianne.
Well, and you know what it is? Like, I didn't sit down and write all of those questions. I would sit down
Yeah.
and write one. And if you
Yeah.
read one question, the word would, but every question had the word
Right. It's just that when
robust.
one person is sitting and reading all of it, you realize how many robusts were in there. So that's why I just had to chuckle. But anyway,
It's a good word.
it's a great word.
I mean, that's why I mean, there's like, when you need a robust,
Right.
like
There isn't really another
versatile.
word. Yes. Yes. There
Uh,
isn't.
I must say, it's nice to have just a small group of us for change. This has been a long time.
Um,
Go ahead, Kate.
just really quickly, hey, thanks, Michelle. I heard back, which was amazing, from Ryko.
Oh, good. So do you have
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, I've got
Oh,
a name. and
perfect.
she's interested.
Glad-
So way to
glad-
go.
Glad to
The
help.
Trustees Network.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Great. Alrighty. We'll see you. When did we see you? I guess I
you.
will be there tomorrow night. So good luck, everybody. That's not the easiest committee,
No, they're fine.
especially you, Marianne.
Okay, they're fine. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.